Hello, it's Beezer, and in today's video, I'll be discussing how to tell if you're a generic believer in something, since there's a difference between people who implement their belief and those who don't, as well as why it's actually unloving to not have people hear about your belief, political or religious. I asked what good is a belief you don't use in my last video as a way to get you to question why you even believe what you do if you don't live like it's actually true. This was compared to a hammer you have but never swing. Why have it if you don't use it? In this case, why hold a title and not live up to it? People tend to treat their very reason for existing like a zodiac sign, which is not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be implementing it into your life. It's supposed to be a part of your identity. So with that being said, I make this video as a message to everyone. If you believe something is right and a better way to do than what someone is currently doing, you should be telling people regardless of what they think of you, since what you believe should be worth more than someone's perception of you. I was actually typing my script for Women in Islam, but I forgot I was going to do useless or unacknowledged beliefs first. So yeah, anyway, I noticed the vast majority of Western Muslims of any faith will go through life not wanting to offend anybody or push their beliefs. So they only talk about it when a rare opportunity comes up, about deep topics, and in any other situation they get defensive. Does this sound familiar? I shouldn't have a snowball's chance in hell to guess correctly for atheist, Christian, Muslim, some political view, etc. I should be able to see, by your actions, if you're actually a believer and not just a title holder. Now the question arises, what's the difference between the title holder and the believer? Let's figure it out. There's plenty of examples of Christians and different believers, but I think I'll stick to Christians for this one and be specific. According to the Bible, we know a tree by its fruit, which is to say you know who a person really is based off of their actions. There's also a bare minimum knowledge requirement to being a Christian. If a Christian doesn't know any verses about Jesus' sacrifice for their sins, how could they be saved? And in Titus chapter 1, we're told keep scripture ready in our head to defend the faith and convince the critic. This is an example of a real Christian, someone who is saved or knows the gospel of salvation and acts like their belief actually holds weight and cares about others. Baby Christians have little to no knowledge other than the gift of salvation, so obviously I'm not saying if you aren't born a scholar you're not Christian. And even having a little bit of knowledge isn't scholarly or special. It's pretty much standard. But I'm pretty sure we can agree that if you believe something, you should educate yourself a little bit. On the contrary, a title holder or fake believer is your stereotypical churchgoer who was raised Christian, but when asked how we get to heaven says be a good person. This means they don't read enough to know how to go to heaven and have the wrong idea of heaven as a whole. Now imagine their knowledge on any other topic. Their very reason for existing, their very sole purpose in life, they don't even have thorough knowledge on, even basic knowledge on. Starter knowledge. They know less than a baby Christian. Another example is how the average day for a fake Christian looks. Does this Christian struggle at all with anything? No. They likely watch porn, masturbate, cuss, are selfish, and so on, prioritizing themselves over the truth and others. It's one thing to struggle with sin while working towards a better relationship with Christ, and it's another to make excuse for doing it. The fake Christian says, aren't we all sinners, to cope with not regretting what they're doing. The real Christian says, I've sinned, and this is something that needs fixing. Help me, Father. You'll also know if you're really a Christian or not with what your intentions are with your friends. Do you talk with your friends with the intent of showing Christ inside of you? Or do you look exactly like the world and have no intention of helping your friend and just want to have fun with them? Which would be selfish, the opposite of what a Christian should be. But think about it. Lastly, the fake Christian, whenever challenged about his belief, just deflects or never actually looks into the challenges. Basically blindly believes. And this not only shows the weakness of his knowledge, but the weakness of his faith and knowledge, as it means he likely doesn't know squat and is a blind believer. It also leaves a critic uneducated and probably more assured in their own belief, with the add-on of viewing believers, Christians specifically, as people without evidence or reason. You would not want to look like that to someone. If you look at someone and see that they have no structure for their belief, why would you give any consideration towards it? You You would have to put yourself in the other person's shoes to understand why you should really get knowledge on your own belief. Now it's time to talk about the unloving action of keeping your faith to yourself. I know it seems tempting to be quiet, yes, about your belief because one, you likely don't have any confidence in your knowledge, and two, you don't want to offend anybody. Like, how could I actually sit here and tell someone they're wrong, right? But here's a solution to the problem, for both of those problems, because I genuinely think people should be more passionate about their beliefs, about their values. Trust me, I understand that nervousness, especially not to lose a friend. When it comes to being quiet to not offend people, you have to think about which is more unloving to do. Let a person live a comfortable lie that hurts them in the end, or tell them the truth about their impending doom. It is tempting to not be offensive, but picture the scenario. If a floor came crashing down, now your friend is sitting in the room, but you have another perspective on it. You see the floor is coming down. Kind of like a 9/11 building, and the person's on the first floor. You see this stuff happening. Now they're inside, they don't know what's going on. Maybe they hear some noise, but they don't do anything about it. Do you run inside and tell them? Do you yell from a distance? Do you translate that message at all? That their life is about to end with the floor coming down on them? Or, because they're living comfortably inside that little first floor building, well, I mean, it's multiple stories, but I really don't have to be specific here. Just understand that a floor is coming down and you need to warn your friend. They're living very comfortably inside that building. They don't want you to disturb them. The question is, do you tell them or not? Which is more loving? Keep in mind the kid might call you a party pooper or just be offended that you warned them. Obviously, warning is more loving regardless of how they feel about you afterwards. So why not tell people the truth when it comes to God? If you genuinely believe that you're right, that means everyone else is wrong. And if you believe the people who are wrong will go to hell for eternity, but don't tell them, you genuinely do not love your friend. Not enough to at least tell them, I guess. I mean, I'm not saying debate, but I'm saying discuss your beliefs and why you think you're right, or why you are right. Now, like I said, this is a Christian example, but this goes for any other beliefs. As for the other issue about not having confidence, you need to start small. First, you need to understand your own beliefs and have a relationship with God, and then get comfortable with hearing arguments for and against your belief. So this would be like going from a baby Christian to an intermediate. In reality, you never really come across someone who reads books on books about different beliefs and are ready to slam you. Also, if you believe the Bible to be true, what could they possibly say that makes it untrue? What would make the Bible untrue? What witty knowledge would they have? Take their argument, think about it, research it, and then come back with an answer. And don't just look it up for yourself. Look up answers to that question and look up arguments and see which one holds weight. But in any case, I recommend the book called Tactics by Kukul. It gives you a list of things to practice and expect when talking to atheists or anyone of a different belief. It teaches you to ask questions and thoroughly understand a person, as well as your own knowledge before diving in and trying to refute every single point, understanding where to cut things off. You can also read Seeking Allah, Finding Jesus by Nabil Qureshi to better understand Muslims. It gives a really good perspective, I would say, to a standard Christian looking at a standard Muslim in the West. And while you're doing this, you can mix in videos from people like David Wood, William Lane Craig, Inspiring Philosophy, Christian Prince, and Sam Shmoon. Now that you have some places to take your baby steps, I hope you use this knowledge to become a real Christian, or a better one. This video wasn't made with the intention of thinking you're better than someone. It's genuinely an honest self-improvement video for you to understand your beliefs a bit better. Actually take truth seriously, and for Christians, improve your walk with Christ. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Next video is just going to be gaming videos, like for the next 3-4 videos. And then after that, we're going to be talking about women in Islam. Oh yes, I will enjoy talking about how equal the Quran is about women in Islam. Hope you guys enjoyed. I will see you in a later video.